Good evening and thank you for joining us for News 8 Now at 5. I'm Emily Brown. Day one of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee is in full swing and the GOP ticket is official. Donald Trump will be the Republican candidate for president on the 2024 ballot. News 8 Now's Ken Kowzarowski is live in Milwaukee with a breakdown of all the day's activities. Ken.
Good evening, Emily. It has been a balmy 90 degrees here in downtown Milwaukee for day one of the Republican National Convention. And day one is fairly formulaic. The party first adopts its official platform that they will then use for the rest of the election season as a way to unify everyone and have every Republican on any ticket be on the same page. Some of those highlights there: stopping the migrant crisis, stopping inflation, broadening U.S. manufacturing at home, placing tariffs on foreign goods, and protecting Social Security and Medicare. That's been a bigger talking point after Democrats have kind of railed against the GOP for their apparent not looking as positive in favor of Social Security and Medicare. The GOP has been trying to right that ship for quite some time. Now, interesting enough, on this platform, almost nothing about abortion, which has been typically something that the GOP has really hanged their hats on in past elections. And some people on the floor of the RNC today cast a nay vote aloud when it came time to adopting this platform. But nonetheless, the vast majority was in favor. So that is set in stone. The next order of business, technically and formally announcing who's going to be the nominee for the presidential ticket. And of course, throughout the primary campaign, we knew Donald Trump had all of the delegates. The voting is just kind of a formal process. Every state gets to showcase a little bit about what makes their state special. And every state delegation, including Wisconsin with its 41 delegates, were more than proud to cast in favor of Donald J. Trump.
The great state of Wisconsin proudly casts all of its 41 votes for Donald J. Trump.
So that, of course, went mostly to plan there, but for most of the day, the party was waiting on a nod from Trump to pick his vice presidential running mate. And Trump is going here with 39-year-old Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. Now, Vance, a former Marine, went to Yale Law School and is in his first term in the Senate with the state of Ohio. He was outwardly critical of Trump, notably back in 2016, referring to Trump back then as cultural heroin, but then changed course in 2022 while he was running for U.S. Senate. Now, I caught up with Wisconsin GOP Chair Brian Schimming after this first couple of hours of the convention in the Pfizer Forum, and he says J.D. Vance actually works for this ticket in a bunch of different ways.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for us to determine our nominee for the office of Vice President of the United States, Senator J.D. Vance.
These United States, we're the ones who need it worth.
Now, Brian Schimming telling us that Vance, growing up in rural poverty in Appalachia, is one of the rags to riches kind of stories that can resonate well with members of the Republican coalition. And Schimming notably saying he can't wait to see Vance on the debate stage going up against incumbent Vice President Kamala Harris. He's really excited for that to take center stage and excited in general to have Vance on this ticket with Donald Trump. Schimming saying the party has never been more unified, even before the events in Butler, Pennsylvania, but excitement is essentially at an all-time high right now. There is a lot of optimism from everyone that we've seen, officials that we've talked to, about this Trump-Vance ticket. So the ticket is now set for Republicans. So while spirits might be high and all positive with the GOP, not such the case just a few blocks away outside the hard perimeter here around downtown Milwaukee. And for more on that, we'll send it over to News 8 Now's Allison Fergit.
Both parties
protesters
are
gathering
inflicting
today at
violence
Red Arrow Park
every
to stand
day
against
on
the
millions
RNC.
of black.
Thousands in the Milwaukee heat coming out to oppose the Republican National Convention, and specifically the Republicans' presumptive nominee. From immigration and international issues to the rights of the LGBTQ+ community and women, protesters made it clear they see a Trump presidency as a threat.
MAGA is basically a dictatorship along with Trump, and they are very much forward to take over the country, and with Project 2025, take away all sorts of freedoms.
Earlier this month, it was unclear if a rally like this could happen. A federal judge ruled protests could only take place at the designated protest zones. But the group behind the protests said the areas were not close enough to the Pfizer Forum. But recently, the group reached what they call a handshake agreement with the Milwaukee police to march outside of the hard perimeter zone, but still within sight of the RNC.
Now, while most of the protesters here today are protesting against the RNC, there were a group of pro-Trump protesters on the other side of the park. Reporting in Milwaukee, Allison Fergit, News 8 Now.
Why do oppressed people?
Allison, thank you so much. So again, protests on either side of the ticket, but excitement here at an all-time high for this Donald Trump and J.D. Vance ticket here at the RNC. We'll have more reaction on the J.D. Vance selection from local officials, perhaps Wisconsin delegates as well. So a lot to still cover. Be sure to cover us coming up at 6 and 10 for the full coverage of what we're bringing you here live from downtown Milwaukee at the Republican National Convention. For Allison Fergit, I'm Ken Kozarowski. Emily, back to you in the studio.
All right. Thank you, Ken and Allison.